A very happy birthday to my mother who raised me. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 1:46 Pacific. That makes it 3:46 Eastern. No, wait. That's not right. 4:46 Eastern.
Plus 3, big guy.
And this is episode 179 of the Anthem podcast, coming to you from beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California, from the hashtag OTALA studios, high above the 110 freeway. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for telling friends. Thank you for sharing. Our numbers have been up.
I'm excited about it.
I think that in part it has to do with the live stream, and then the other part is people telling other people. So if you're one of those people, we salute you.
And make sure you keep it up. There's a lot of great ways you can catch the podcast. Of course, you can catch the live stream every Saturday, well, most Saturdays, right here on Facebook, facebook.com/OTheAnthem. Of course, you can check us out on Tuesdays at OTheAnthem.com or through your podcatcher of choice. We prefer Pocket Cast, but you can also find us on iTunes and all over there. And of course, if you want to see the video, we record video live every single week. You can check that out at youtube.com/OTheAnthem. So there's 1,000 ways to find us. Make sure that you find your way and share it with all your friends so they can enjoy the show as well.
And if maybe they don't want to listen to the audio, just say like, hey, there's video too.
There's video. Go to YouTube. Yeah. The YouTube space is growing. Be part of the action. But we have to start off today with maybe walking back something we said, 11 months or so. Because I feel like it was part of the...
It was when we were there for my birthday, so it would have been in April.
Oh, was it? I thought it was when we were there in November.
No.
First world problems. When you go to Las Vegas so often that you don't know which trip it was that you
went.
Which
Vegas trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so if you want to go back to that podcast, we'll figure out which one it is, and it'll be in the show notes with a link. But if you want to check it out, we had many favorable things to say about the Las Vegas Police Department. Just taking in the sights and seeing that there were drunk people falling down in the street, and there was like scuffles, kerfuffles, if you will, going on, and they held their own with a remarkable amount of professionalism.
Yes, we said that other police departments should go to Vegas just to see how it's done by the Las Vegas Police Department. And then this week we get a story from Michael Bennett, NFL player, about an experience he had with the Las Vegas police, and it was far different than
anything we saw at all. It was much
or
more
what we
Baltimore.
have talked about. Yeah,
much more Baltimore than Las Vegas. What we had experienced. So
now on Twitter, you sent me the story, and then you said like, oh, maybe we were wrong about the Las Vegas Police Department.
Yes,
I would like to kind of double down on my remarks, and this is not to minimize the experience felt by Michael Bennett or anything that may or may not have happened, because we're still waiting for all the
You're
facts.
Waiting for all the details.
Well, I mean, there's one,
as a police apologist, you are waiting for more details.
No, I'm
I
saying
know exactly what happened.
I'm saying right now, like if we're looking at straight facts, what we have is Michael Bennett's report. We have the police department's report, which is completely different.
Yes,
and we have a video of him lying down on the ground face first, with the police over top of him, but nothing
with their guns drawn, pointed at him.
Not like he said, though, where it was like the gun on the back of the head. Like,
well, it was after that. Yes, it was after that. It was after he was on the ground.
I'm saying I'm not denying the fact that he had something go on. I'm just saying, right now there's still things to be determined. Right. But I will make the argument that Las Vegas could potentially, I mean, if the police department wasn't as good as it has shown itself to be when we were there. Yes. Then they could be having incidents like this like every 4 hours.
Oh, no, drunk people being stupid.
Yeah.
If you acted in Las Vegas the way that you act in Las Vegas, and you did that in Baltimore.
Yeah. You'd be dead.
There's no way. There was another video that came out this week of a woman who uncuffed herself, climbed in the front seat, stole the police cruiser, took them on a high-speed chase, and then tried to get the shotgun out of its lock when they finally stopped her. And she was white, lucky that the police didn't kill her. But again, you do that shit in Baltimore, they will light your ass up. Yeah. It's like, oh, she was reaching for the shotgun, so we unloaded 140 rounds into the cab of the car. But yeah, no, Baltimore is a great comparison, I think, because Las Vegas is probably around 400, 500,000 people. If you take into account the fact that there's a lot of tourists there.
Well, I mean, I would say that there might be 400,000 people who live there.
Okay.
But then on any given weekend, it can raise to
And it was fight night.
1 million people
Right.
or more.
To be fair, yeah, it was
Yeah.
fight night, so there was probably 2 million people in Las Vegas that night.
And they had the Big 3 event there too, so
True.
it was a crowded night for
Yeah.
Vegas. Yeah, but I mean, like, and again, I'm not trying to apologize for the police or put down Michael Bennett's story. I like to, at this point, just wait for more evidence to come in so I can rule one way or the other. I don't want to go one side or the other, but I do think that for the most part, the Vegas police do a pretty good job. And I think that one thing that actually separates, I mean, as terrible as the incident is, one thing that actually separates the Las Vegas Police Department in this, as opposed to others that we've chided in the past,
Yeah.
is that Michael Bennett is alive at the moment.
True. Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be put through all the...
He was on the strip, though.
Yeah.
They're not going to murder somebody on the strip.
No, they probably would choose not to, but I'm saying the fact that, like, fucking New York, Eric Gardner.
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And the fact that he died was really bad for the New York Police Department.
Yep.
I'm saying that at least in this case, we don't have a fatality, and we don't have I don't know. It all sucks. None of this is great. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I will agree with that. But what it comes down to is
I'd rather have people alive than dead, I guess is my general principle.
there was a report of a shot fired, and out of a crowd, a 6'8" black guy is running, but he's running with a crowd.
Yeah.
That part is agreed upon. Now, according to the police, someone pointed out Michael Bennett as the shooter. Now, if Michael Bennett played for the Ravens, maybe I would agree he was the shooter because we have a history of this kind of thing. But he doesn't, and therefore he probably wasn't the shooter. And so they basically, from his report, put him to the ground, put a gun to his head, said they're going to fucking kill him, the whole nine. And I found it ironic that earlier this week we watched the episode of The Newsroom where Will McAvoy has a bodyguard, Terry Crews.
Yeah,
I don't know what his name is in the show, but and
Lonnie something.
And the police stop him and they put him up against the car and they're like, "Don't do anything that makes us nervous." And he turns around, and he's like, "I can't help being big and black at the same time." Like that is exactly what I feel like. These cops saw a big black guy running. They immediately went into shots fired, big black guy. This must be our perp. And they put him on the ground. And then the guy who puts a gun to his head, and I don't doubt that happened. There's no reason for him to lie about it. There's no motivation for him to lie about it. Because you know what? If I was an NFL player, I would do everything I could to not be on that bad side of the police. Because look what fucking happened to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
You don't want to ruin your career.
Well, there's that aspect of it too. So Bennett shares this story on Instagram, Twitter, something like that, and like a post that was written up and then posted as a picture. The response from the Las Vegas Police Department, which includes telling Roger Goodell to suspend Michael Bennett for the things he said, is not the way to carry the situation.
There should be an investigation into Michael Bennett.
Yeah, into lying about this and how he's allowed to play football after lying about this.
And being big and black and in Las Vegas at the same time. Come on,
also,
guys.
just one other thing. As far as like winning arguments go, don't tell me that the police who were involved were black. And therefore, it can't be racist because the police officers are black.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you this. Many times you'll find that the discussions about people who are criminals in police departments has to do with, these are the bad guys.
Yep.
These are the bad black guys. You're one of the good, but you're a police officer. You're a good black guy. And then there's this thing that goes on where it's just like separating people from everyone who's a criminal is bad, and we know they're a criminal before this happens. Yeah. And you're always good because you're always the police officer. Like this is what is causing a lot of the division and a lot of the incidents.
And to go a little off of what
thinking that no matter what, you're in the right. And no matter what, the person who is in handcuffs is in wrong.
Do you have the back of your fellow officers? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
No matter what your skin color is, you're wearing blue. And you can be black, white, Latino, Asian. It doesn't matter. If you're wearing blue, blue is your color. And a story that we weren't talking about, but just popping in my mind. There was a story in the Baltimore Sun this week about the one gun unit officer who was not indicted. And they're like, oh, this guy's a hero. He's a literal Boy Scout. He does the whole thing. But you know what? Like, all of this crime was going on around him. He was partnered with these people while they were doing these things.
Yeah.
And basically, they haven't indicted him because he never took money himself. And it's basically the plot of every movie you've ever seen, where there's like the good partner and then there's the bad partner. And they're like, he's incorruptible. He's going to be a rat. And like, no, we're all cops. I don't tell on bad cops. And this is the argument I had to make to people all week. They're all bad. They're all bad. And this is why. Because this one guy was a part of a unit that stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from people, that used intimidation tactics, was essentially running drugs in the city of Baltimore. And he sat by and watched the whole thing happen because blue was more important than black or white or Asian or Latino. It didn't matter. We're all blue, and I'm not going to rat on you. So if you want to show me a good cop, show me the cop who turns in all of the members
Show
of
me
his
that
unit.
one guy in the gun unit who turned in everybody else.
Because guess what? The federal prosecution didn't involve the one good cop from that unit. He's not being indicted because he wasn't involved, but that he didn't participate in the prosecution. He didn't help them. He didn't go to IED and say, hey, listen, there is some fucked up shit going on in this unit. No. And you know what? If they put him on the stand, he'll take the fifth because he might give testimony that would incriminate himself. So he's allowed to do that. And he will continue the cycle of, I'm a good cop because I don't do bad things, but I'll still cover for bad cops who do bad things. That makes you all bad. Sorry. Fuck yourselves.
Speaking of somebody who wears blue and is going to be available all NFL season, Ezekiel Elliott's suspension was temporarily
this is the thing I love. It's not that you're angry about the suspension at all. Corey's reaction earlier this week was, how the fuck are they going to let him play week 1 when I'm playing opposite him on fantasy football and then they're going to suspend him? It's not the suspension. It's not what they allege. It's that Corey doesn't want him to have one good week on fantasy football and then be suspended for 6 weeks.
The other thing, too, is that, what was I in the draft, like 3rd or 4th?
Yeah.
So I would have been prime Zeke territory.
And you didn't take him.
But I was just like, I don't know.
Risk.
The suspension. And, like, who knows? Maybe I doubt it gets worse, but...
And you never know with our draft because, like, Rachel took a quarterback in the 3rd round. You just never know how these things are going to shake out. He could be available in round 12. Who knows?
But anyway, so is it a federal court judge who did this?
Yes. Yeah, federal appeals court judge.
Yeah, who basically said that the NFL is not allowed to suspend Ezekiel Elliott until the whole lawsuit from the NFL Players Association is settled.
And you made a great
Which is
point.
like a similar point with like what happened with Brady.
Yes, that was a great point. It's not that the activity was wrong. It's not that the suspension warrant was wrong. It's that Roger Goodell has fucked himself over again. Yeah. It's that you don't know what you're doing when you suspend these players.
So just to back it up, in case you are unaware of what happened, Ezekiel Elliott had a girlfriend, and there was... several stories that were put out about domestic violence. Yes. And the NFL, as they do now, just automatically suspends you for 6 games minimum. If you have any kind of scent of domestic violence on you.
But just to say, they absolutely should.
Yeah.
If it's a legitimate story, you should be suspended 6 games.
I feel like, and this all ties back to Ray Rice in a way, because
absolutely does.
Ray Rice was originally suspended for 3 games or 2 games or something like that. Yeah. Back when they knew what he did, but there was no video to support it.
And again, going back to those episodes we discussed it, I think my argument was, I bet they've seen it, but it's not public. So they're like, give him 2 games and let's get this out of the way. And then it became public.
So what had happened with Ray Rice was obviously he punched his then fiance or then girlfriend,
soon after wife,
in an elevator in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And he had been suspended for 2 games. And then as soon as the suspension was about to start, as soon as the regular season came around, we got the video. Yeah. And then the NFL was caught with like, oh, God, we have only suspended him for 2 games and the outrage and blah, blah, blah. And that's when they added to the suspension.
And he filed an appeal because how are you going to suspend me twice? For the
Right,
same
but the
thing?
Ravens had already released him, and he had no place to play, and that's pretty much Ray Rice.
Although I understand, having
think-
a little
but-
inside knowledge about Ray Rice, by the way, he's apparently in like better than game shape. He's working out every day. He's ready to play. And we've talked about somebody giving him a chance. Somebody should give him a chance.
Should go up to the Hamilton Tiger Cats and just try and
Just play
the
anywhere.
Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, go play in the AFL. I mean, go play for the
just do something.
Cadets.
I mean, like it doesn't help to. The problem though is that if you're like the Arena Football League and you sign Ray Rice, then you got to deal with the noise of signing Ray Rice, which is the problem.
But maybe you want the noise because nobody knows what the AFL is. You know. It's like,
yeah, maybe.
People coming out buying tickets and protesting is still people coming out and buying tickets.
True.
So.
Anyway. But basically, the NFL stance changed from that moment, where it's like we're not going to be caught. We're not going to suspend Ezekiel Elliott for one game because of the allegations.
Yeah.
And then find that there's a video of him curb stomping his girlfriend, and then we have to go like, oh God, what do we do? We just suspended him from one game. They'd rather do the bigger suspension and then just hope and pray that it doesn't get appealed, which is what happened.
And of course, Goodell can roll it back if he decides that 6 games is not appropriate. He could give him less. The problem with Ray Rice was that you gave him more after you'd already given him what was a punishment.
So again, with Zeke, it's kind of similar things. Like we've heard about particular events, including him punching her and stuff like that, but she would not testify or not press charges.
Yeah.
Which made it difficult for the state of Ohio to go through with the charges.
Right.
And then an NFL investigator went to go talk to, I can't remember her name, the girlfriend.
Yeah.
I think it was like Roberts or Thomas or something like that. Anywho, the investigator apparently was grilling her about the details and was not super happy. It's not like she found her to be an unreliable witness, did not have any kind of evidence or witnesses that would testify to what she was claiming. And basically the NFL...
Well, wait, and you're skipping the part where after she told the story, she said, I don't want anything to happen to him.
Yeah, I don't want him to be suspended.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to interfere with his life.
It's the worst witness you can have.
Yeah.
Like, one, you're telling details incorrectly from the last time you told them, and then at the end you say, and whatever happened, I don't care. I don't want anything to happen to him. It's like,
right.
Okay, great.
But the Goodell got that information from the investigator and said, still, let's suspend him for 6 games.
Yeah.
And then buried that part of the information. Which is where the entire basis for the appeal goes.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about with Brady and suing the NFL was really kind of a crazy moment because up until then it was NFL levies a suspension, you can appeal it, and then the NFLPA and the NFL get in a room with an arbitrator and discuss the details and then decide whether or not the suspension will be either like tossed or reduced.
Right. And if they can't come to an agreement, then the arbiters vote number 3 at the end of a certain period. That's what's in the collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, but the arbiter is paid for by the NFL.
Right.
Traditionally it had not been an independent arbiter.
Yes.
Which is what caused the problem with Brady because he sued saying like, hey, wait a minute, I don't. It's 2 against 1 in this appeal thing, and I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm never going to win this. So I'm going to sue them.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think that it doesn't do any good if people are going to keep suing to overturn suspensions.
Well, here's the thing. The next collective bargaining agreement is in 3 years. Something like that. The NFL needs to come up with a system of this is how we do a suspension.
Yeah.
And then that needs to be made part of the collective bargaining agreement.
I mean, that's the biggest problem, really, is that Goodell just seems to come up with these numbers on the top of his head.
Also, Goodell needs to be gone by the time they do the next collective bargaining agreement.
He won't. Goodell won't
be.
He makes so much money for the NFL, and he gets to he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
He takes the fall for everybody else. Which is really all the owners want, just somebody to be the bad guy.
But in the end, he should be gone. They
don't want people talking about how bad of a guy Jerry Jones is or how bad of a guy Robert Kraft is. They just want people talking about Roger Goodell being the bad guy.
But no, so that's the problem. Is that right now that they're making it up as they go along. They gave Ray Rice 2 games and then 4 more games, and then they tried to say like, okay, so 6 is a standard. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then they've handed out 6 since then. Some of them have been appealed, some of them haven't. The ones where criminal charges got filed, usually the guys were just like, all right, I'll take 6 games.
See, but the problem too is that like there's in as much as all domestic violence is wrong, and that especially if you're a fucking NFL player, you have no right to hit a woman because
outweigh
you
her.
You
by,
could kill her.
Yeah, you outweigh her by 100 pounds, and
and you're designed to inflict damage on people, and she is not. And again, stated that every incident of domestic violence is bad. There are stories like Ezekiel Elliott where the domestic violence in question seems to be more about like, oh, he punched me, he got upset, and he hit me. And Greg Hardy, who like fucking beat on a woman for 15 straight minutes, like, you know, there's probably,
I don't know if you all know the story.
There's a spectrum to this.
Do you know the story of Trippie Redd?
No.
There's a video of him chasing his girlfriend down the street, and basically, like the best description I heard is he had in his eyes that Baltimore cop look, where it's just like, when I catch you, you gonna be in trouble. You better hope you get away from me. Like that's. But in Ezekiel Elliott's situation, one of the things that the girl said was that it was mutual. Like, I hit him and there was an exchange, and so I hit him first. And then there was some defensive move. So it's unclear about what happened. And that's never a good case. Coming from a legal point of view, if I had somebody come to me with that case, I'd be like, this is not a great case. Like, he's got some cuts on his neck. Did those happen first? Did they happen last? Like, where in the situation did that? It's not.
Did he punch her or did he push her away?
Yeah, he's got cuts on the outside of his arm. Those look like defensive wounds. Like, so did he defend first and then have to escape? It's bad. It's just not a good story. It's not the hill that you want to die on if you're Roger Goodell.
Right.
But they've chosen to do that. But much to Corey's joy, now the entire fantasy football league is going to have to face Ezekiel Elliott. Not that it matters to me because my season's over after week 1.
Rob got Kareem Hunt in bed.
God, who saw that coming?
Well, Chelsea.
Well, I don't even know that Chelsea saw it. I think she just drafted somebody. And
just like, oh, Chiefs, sure.
Sure, yeah. And he put up 45 points in the first week, and I went from a 93% chance of winning to a
12%.
Less 17. No, it's 17%. Yeah. To an 83. Her having 83% chance of winning. I don't even have a defense yet. It's just gotten out of control in the first week. I am not happy about it. But we just for a few seconds, let's talk about an NFL preview for our team, the Ravens. Once again, we are starting our fall tradition since last year of getting up the break of dawn to go out and drink. So
guys, being a West Coast football fan is like the worst thing
unless
ever.
you're like a Rams fan, because then it starts at 1,
then you can wait till 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
But who wants to watch the Rams? That's the problem.
And we're going to be in Vegas again, ironically, when the Ravens are playing on the other side of the world. Yeah. So we're like planning out.
It's not even like we get a reprieve.
Yeah, no. It's we are going to be in Pacific time. They're going to be in London, GMT. So like the game's at 6 or 5:30 in the morning or something like that. So we're going to have to take a nap in the afternoon and just get up in the middle of the night and go drink and watch football. Luckily, we'll be in Vegas where there will be something open at 5:30 where we can get a drink and watch the game.
One would hope.
And then drive home later on that day. That'll be super fun. But yeah, so how are you feeling about the Ravens this year?
Not great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They did
that's my 2-word review. Not great. My
bottle has a hole in it.
Oh no.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you need to dispose of that?
I mean, it's looking a little rough. I know you guys can't really see it, but this bottle has seen better days. It's only like 4 months old, so.
The plastics are starting to erode.
Yeah. This probably can't be good for my body. And I'm drinking water out of that. Anyway, yeah.
Just one solitary piece of plastic making the long journey through Rob's colon. Much like last year, where it seemed like the injuries couldn't get any worse.
Yeah.
We're starting the season and already having that feeling. It's not like Joe hasn't been in any of the preseason games, none of the practices until this week.
Yeah.
Perryman's been out. Woodhead's been out. all over the place. It's just injury after injury after injury, and I'm worried that I will say, I mean, like on paper, the Ravens look like they could potentially make the playoffs.
Preseason
I don't
went
know
really well.
I don't know if they could win. Well, preseason they're playing against furniture movers, so it's not like.
No, they're putting up points in the first quarter. That's
but
first
I'm
team
saying,
versus first team.
But I mean, like the Saints game, they weren't leading until like the very end.
That's true too. Okay.
So I mean, like and in the fourth preseason game, nobody plays. Like no stars play.
Well,
so
why do we even have a fourth No, it's to get rid of. That's right. It's to get it down to 52. Well, that too. Yes. Somebody paid $212 for their preseason game ticket.
I still love. I commend the Ravens on the fact they didn't change the price of season tickets in total. They just changed the price on the actual preseason games.
Yeah.
So like they've made the regular season more expensive and then made the preseason less expensive.
Yeah.
It all equals out in the end, but at least you don't have to go to a preseason game and like look at a ticket and be like $95. Jesus Christ.
And you've killed the secondary market because I don't want to go to that fourth preseason game, but I guess I could sell a ticket for $55 easier.
So I downloaded Game Time just to sort of keep an eye on that sort of thing. The Rams. We can go to a Rams game for $6 on Sunday.
Right. But maybe cheaper than that by the time Sunday rolls around. Like
Sunday,
when we're sitting and watching the Ravens game, you're like, hey, $2 to get into the Rams stadium.
Sure, why not? I'm surprised though the Chargers are actually pretty high.
I think it's
probably the less number of seats because they're playing in a soccer stadium.
Also, local fan base. It's not that far. I feel like people will drive, at least at the beginning, until they get bad. And
who cares though? I mean, like
Chargers fans don't care.
I haven't met a single Chargers fan.
I have Chargers fans at my work. So.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Are they from San Diego?
No. It's people.
They just became Chargers fans?
No, it's people who grew up. A lot like people in Maryland who, when their parents' team left, because all these kids are 22 years old.
Yeah.
So they don't remember when.
So they don't remember the Raiders, the Rams back then.
But their parents were like, all right, let's find a team I can take my kid to go see, and San Diego's closest. So it's like, all right, we're football fans. We want to find a local team. We'll go once a year down to San Diego.
Yeah.
So they're San Diego. And now that the team's back, it's all those Maryland people who are still Redskins fans, despite the fact that we have a team in Baltimore. Because they grew up being Chargers fans or Redskins fans. So
I haven't met many of them. And it seems like such a like the Spanos family has been so fucking terrible to San Diego.
Yeah.
That it's almost hard to like rationalize why you would like it's tough for me to root for the Dodgers when I go to their games because I think about things that happened in the history, like how they kicked out like all the families that lived up in the Elysian Hills to build Dodger Stadium. Like these things like weigh on me. And to think that like not that I would ever give up on the Ravens, but to think that I might like follow the Chargers because I'm out here. Yeah. Like I'm like I don't want to follow that shit. Spanos, that dickhead.
I think my communism's rubbing off on you. That's it's probably a good thing. But no. So I will say that I'm torn between feeling like this is 2015 all over again, and it's going to be like a rebuilding year, and you're just like, how many rebuilding years do we need in 5 years? You know. But the other side of me is like everybody's going to come back week 3, week 4, and be healthy. And football, like baseball, you can assume you're gonna lose 4. Maybe 5 in any given season.
Right.
Very few teams are going to lose 2 games in a season. So if you're going to lose 4 and lose them right at the beginning and then go undefeated for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. Bring back Danny Woodhead so Joe can be checking down every single down because that's what he does. And we'll waste the wide receiver core. And what I'll say is that the rest of the AFC North doesn't look that strong.
Yeah.
Which is the only.
I mean, the Steelers.
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
I don't think Bennett looks as good as he has in the past. He's getting older too.
Can't stay healthy.
I'm excited about Kaiser in Kaiser in Cleveland. I think he's going to put on a show, but he's got nothing there. I mean, he'll put on a show for whatever it's worth. And Cincinnati can't get out of their own way. So Andy Dalton will still be Andy Dalton, and they just can't get out of their own way and win games.
Yeah.
So, I always think back. I remember I was having this conversation with the people at work because, again, some football fans there. And I was just like, NFC or the AFC North is tough. But then I think about like the Bengals being one set of downs away from going to the playoffs and getting like a helmet to helmet, and then arguing with the referee, and they gave up like a 45-yard penalty block.
Oh, and the Bengals, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Vontaze perfect.
And then they got knocked out of the playoffs. I'm like, that's the Bengals that I know. I'm not afraid of the Bengals. I'm definitely not afraid of the Browns this year. Although I think again, Kaiser's going to put on a show there. It's still going to be the Steelers, and we'll see. I'm hoping that Ben just runs out of steam. But
I just if the team can get healthy, I have
and stay healthy.
Yeah. I have higher hopes for them. I just feel like this is going to be another year like last year where by the end of the season, we're going to be looking for Ryan Mallett to get us through.
It might be a disaster.
So do you have a like a win-loss prediction? I know it's kind of a perilous thing with like this injury.
Yeah, I don't know that there's any way to predict because Joe's not starting this week, is he?
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying that, but is he really going to start?
I mean, I would imagine he is. He's out on the practice field.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things that you have to make like a dual prediction. You know, like it's like
worst case scenario, best case scenario.
Best case, I think 12 wins is probably solid.
Okay.
And getting into winning the AFC North and getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Worst case, I still think that you are finishing second in the AFC North, but probably like 9 wins.
Oh, so that's your worst case scenario.
Yeah, because keep in mind, we're playing 4 games against Cincinnati and Cleveland.
Yeah, but I mean, like Cincinnati for sure has always played us tough. So, I mean, it's not like a runaway. And they're still a good team. They're not, I don't think they're championship worthy, but they're...
Well, so I'm thinking about the games, and I can't think of
they're like on the periphery of making the playoff kind of team.
So, let's see. We play the Browns twice.
They're like the Dolphins.
We're playing the Browns twice.
Yeah.
We're going to London and playing Jacksonville. I'm just going to assume that if the team has any sort of sportsmanship at all, we're going to win those games.
Okay.
What other types of games like that are there this season?
Well,
are you going to? I mean, I thought you would have it memorized. You don't have the full schedule pulled up, or come on, what's this about?
Hold on a second.
Oh, look, it's a delay, and so that's what I'm saying. Is that like, let's say we would take at least one from the Steelers, at least one from the Bengals. That's 5 wins there, and we only need 4 more to finish with 9. So I mean, I don't think it gets any worse than that.
Schedule.
Yeah,
okay.
Here we go.
So. The first 3 games we start out Bengals, Browns, and Jags. Okay. So we got that, and then the Steelers, Raiders, Bears, Vikings.
So I'm looking at the Bears. That's another one. Go ahead.
So let me
Titans, Dolphins.
Let's do a best case scenario here.
Okay.
I guess Bengals 1, Browns 2, Jaguars 3. I don't think we got the Steelers. I don't think we got the Raiders.
Wait. Are we playing the Steelers at home then, or away? Yeah,
at home.
Come on, give them the advantage of playing at home.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think the Steelers are a little bit better this year, so it's going to be
all right.
But I'm saying, like, those first 3 should be wins,
right?
Much like Chicago should be a win,
right?
Minnesota should be a win,
theoretically.
Miami should be a win.
That's 6, yeah.
Titans would be tough. That's kind of like
I still think it's a win. Green Bay, probably not.
Texans, maybe.
We'll see, but again, I think it depends how their quarterback situation.
See, I think there's a lot of like
Lions.
So wait, we got the Colts. That's another for sure,
right?
And let's just call the Browns and Bengals again.
Right. So that's 10, 11.
Okay.
That's. I mean, so I think.
So
worst
then,
case scenario,
if you can
9.
pick off wins against like the Texans and the Lions,
right? Now you're at 12.
Right.
And I think so. Saying that you lose a couple of those close ones and it's 9, I think that's going with 9 wins is a good bet, even for a worst case scenario.
I'm still a little bit worried.
Okay, so what's your prediction?
Worst case scenario 4-12.
Whoa! And
then best case scenario 12-4.
Okay. Now, so the question is, if it is looking like a 4-12 season, do you just start pulling starters and hoping for a better draft pick? Are you in that?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember, because you guys may not remember us, because
that happened like 3 years ago.
In 2015, no, 2 years ago. In 2015, we were in Miami, and we were not actively cheering against the team, but kind of cheering against the team. Like, guys, put on a good show, but we don't need to win this thing. Like, come on.
I wanted them to be winning until the last second.
Right. And then lose on a kick, and now we get a better draft pick.
And especially because at that point, the Dolphins and the Ravens were like lined up as like we were both fighting for that same draft pick. And I just wanted to not deal with that.
Because keep in mind, a single pass back in 1979 led to the Kardashians being famous now. Just so you remember that. Keep that in mind, kids.
Never forget. So never forget.
The possibility of a disaster in Baltimore is matched only by the almost certainty of a disaster in Florida.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Jacksonville or not the Jacksonville Jaguars and not the Miami Dolphins, not even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, although there's probably going to be disasters all over those places. But all of those cities are in the path of Hurricane Irma as we are recording this right now.
Yeah. So if you're listening on Tuesday, keep in mind that we are doing the live stream here on Saturday. Yeah. So Irma hasn't hit Miami or Florida like it's expected to. The storm is bigger than the state of Florida right now. Oh, yeah.
It is.
It's one of those ones where it looks like if the eye goes like straight up the middle of the state, it's going to just completely cover the entire state of Florida by the time.
When it gets up near, north of Orlando, it would cover the entire state if it went just right up the center. But it's looking like it's trailing left. It's one of those things that everyone, you can't do right for doing wrong. Everyone's shouting now because Miami and Fort Lauderdale and all of those places on the east were evacuated, and now the storm has turned west. I was like, oh, okay, so we should have just left everybody there until a day before it made landfall? Like, it's ridiculous. And everybody's yelling that now they're evacuating Pinellas County and St. Pete and Tampa. Like, yeah, but that's an extra day. They have an extra day to get out.
Something to consider as well. Houston flooded, and it was terrible. And it was the worst storm that's hit Texas ever.
A 500-year storm.
Yeah. And Florida is more used to getting hurricanes, but this one is way bigger than usual.
Yeah.
This is bigger than Andrew, which completely ravaged
Have you seen the comparison
Florida.
Between the two of them, by the way? It's you think about Andrew, and I remember watching the coverage of Andrew, and it coming across Central Florida, and it just basically doing the blocking out everything from St. Pete to Daytona. Just everything through the middle blocked out. And then you see that, and then they separately show the size of Irma next to it. And then they throw in Jose, which is coming in right behind Irma. And Jose's bigger than Andrew, too. And it makes you think. Back in 2004, when An Inconvenient Truth came out, one of the most controversial things that at that point former Vice President Gore said was global warming is going to cause bigger and stronger storms.
Yeah.
We currently have 3 Category 4 hurricanes in the Atlantic. All of them are larger than the strongest previous storm. Now, they're not stronger. Jose's still not stronger than that storm, and Katia is not stronger than that storm. But they are larger in size than the storm. And we just had Harvey.
And if you do the scientific projections of where they could be a week from now, then
literally Irma, for a while, they were talking about creating the Category 5++, because the scale only goes up to 5.
Yeah.
And they're like, once you hit 220 miles per hour winds sustained, that's above what we'd ever project a hurricane would be able to sustain. So we're just going to add another plus on the outside of it to show that it's super strong. And can at some point we say that global warming is a thing and just accept it based on what we see?
Yes, I would like to say yes, but I would also temper this a little bit.
Okay.
With just this one number one thing that I saw from one of your tweets, I think earlier this week.
This doesn't sound like me.
That the top, I'm going to get these numbers wrong. So if you remember it, please correct me. But 50% of all pollution can be attributed to 90 companies or something like that.
Yeah. No, 50% of the pollution, not all pollution, but the pollution that causes global warming.
Right, the man-made pollution can be tied to 90 companies.
So the point of that was we shouldn't name hurricanes after names after people. We should name them like Exxon and Chevron because that's what's causing the strong storms.
I would say that, again, I'm not... I think that much like I feel like the absolute top 1 point of 1%ers should definitely be paying way the hell more in taxes regardless of what the hell they've done.
Yeah.
let's just make a rule that the 100 most polluting companies need to pay more in some sort of punishment.
Here's the problem
for their pollution. I know that the they pay so much money into lobbyists and getting people elected that nobody's going to punish Exxon unless they have an oil spill or something like that. But I feel like if you're in the top 100 most polluting companies, then there should be a major fine levied against you.
What are 15 of those companies that are in the top 90?
Oil.
Right. So if let's say we find all of them, right? Mm-hmm. Who is going to pay that fine?
Us.
Right. How are we going to pay it?
Through higher gas.
Right. Because they're not going to take anything out of their actual in their revenue.
Right.
They're going to instead pass that fine on to the people by raising gas prices.
Yeah, and I mean every company would find some way to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like
it's harder for some other companies because
right.
If it was Walmart, then you could say, well, the other smaller like Walgreens and CVS, the smaller competitors to Walmart that are growing, who didn't get punished, well, they could keep their prices the same, and Walmart would try to pass it on, and it would cause market flux.
The problem with oil in particular is that it's not like you are paying the oil that Exxon produces doesn't necessarily go to Exxon stations.
Right.
Obviously, all the Exxon oil goes to Exxon stations, but Exxon also pumps oil that goes to United Oil, or goes to Sunoco, or goes to whatever. So it's no matter where you went, the prices would be higher. But if it's Walmart, is Kmart still around?
Kmart is still around.
Okay, so
Sears is still around too.
Yeah,
they're part of the same
so
company.
they can all charge less than. Oh no! Are you plugged in?
No, I thought I was going to have enough power to make it. Oh no!
Oh no! Here, let me go make a run for it.
Just make a run.
You go talk about
what I was about to jump into, which is the one side note I would make to this is yes, there is this whole feeling that gas is too expensive. And one thing I want to remind you guys is that when they take oil out of the ground, it's a natural resource for the entire country. And what that means is that it belongs to every citizen of that country. So they are literally taking out a natural resource that belongs to all of us, and then they're charging it back to us at an exorbitant amount. And we've seen with Hurricane Harvey, and I'm sure it'll repeat now with Irma and Katia and Jose, that gas prices are going to rise now. And they're going to say it's because...
Already up.
Yes. They're going to say it's because production was impacted by the hurricanes. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. They said the same thing about Hurricane Katrina, and then like 2 years later we found out that... production actually wasn't impacted that much, but they found an opportunity to price gouge, and nobody really addressed it, so they'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
But every gallon of oil that's taken out of the ground and processed into gasoline belongs to all of us. And for some reason, we've said it's okay for this company to make billions of dollars for us to pay an exorbitant amount for this product that already belongs to all of us, and for them to make record profits. You know what company doesn't do that? Citgo. Why does Citgo not do that?
I don't know.
Because Citgo is the national gas company for the country of Venezuela. And Venezuela believes that all natural resources belong to all of the people. So they've nationalized Citgo, and when you go to Venezuela and you want gas, prices are reasonable up until a point. Because once we embargoed them, because they have a socialist government now gas prices have risen because they can't sell the gas anywhere else and they can't import anything. So it's a whole complicated scheme. But right at the beginning, when Citgo nationalized, gas prices were super low. And basically what people were paying for was the upkeep that the corporation was doing on oil refineries and oil wells and everything else. And
that sounds very libertarian of you, though. The oil is all of ours,
but no, that's just
socialism. like the streets belong to us, and why do we pay meters or tolls or?
Well, I mean, I don't think that we should have meters or tolls.
Yeah,
I think that, but I also think that we need to pay taxes because that's what builds roads,
right,
and bridges.
Yeah,
but that's socialism. That's the thing that you hate so much, socialism. Because socialism allows us all to enjoy these things at a very low cost.
I think you're trying to get in on the goods of libertarianism without the bads of the socialism.
Well, no, because libertarian would say, okay, so all the oil belongs to us. Now you have to go up to Alaska, pump it out yourself. Figure out how to refine it, which, by the way, I know how to do. You use pumped gas and you heat it up, and then you pump some carbon dioxide through it, and that's what causes the gasoline to filter out from the crude oil. But you have to refine it yourself, and then you can put it in your car, and it costs you nothing. That's libertarianism. Right? Did I just accurately describe how a libertarian would talk about oil?
No.
Right. Socialism says it's all of ours, so let's all go in together, we'll process it together, and then we'll all get it very cheaply.
Okay, well, let's go back to the issue of climate change. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I agree that things have seemed to have been popping off a lot more than they had in the past.
2 500-year hurricanes in the same 2-week period. Seems a bit much. Half of the West is burning right now. In fact, there is a fire. You guys can't see what direction I'm pointing, but in this direction, there is a fire that's probably 2 miles away from us. Yeah. And if Dodger Stadium wasn't in the way, we'd be able to see the fire along the fire line. Yeah. But things are going a bit haywire. And getting into something.
The volcano in Yellowstone's about to explode.
I was going to say, so also there was an earthquake in Mexico, which is looking like it's going to trigger.
8.1.
Yeah. Huge earthquake. Only 68 people died, which is amazing. But it looks like it's going to trigger.
To be fair, that's a number. Usually earthquakes don't kill people right away. It's what happens after the earthquake. Yeah. It's the people stuck in the rubble for 3 weeks and dying of starvation.
Sure. Just like Harvey, people are saying, only 65 people died in Harvey, but they have yet to go through and do the Katrina style, like X on the wall, this many bodies.
We've cleared. Yeah.
So we'll see what the end result is from that as well. But it looks like the Cocos plate and the North American plate have jumped 32 feet. I know that not everybody understands plate tectonics, but these things move at centimeters per year. And this earthquake that occurred caused it to move 32 feet, which is like 400 million years of movement on a plate all at once. And that puts pressure on the magma chambers of volcanoes around it. They're talking about some of the most dangerous volcanoes in Mexico and Central America are like now at risk to go off. And the Yellowstone supervolcano is 40,000 years overdue, and like it's looking like that is bubbling up. And the best thing I saw this week was
NASA's trying to stop it from.
They have a plan.
Yeah,
they'll never do it. They'll never do it because, by the way, part of that plan could accidentally set it off. Yeah. And like, how bad are you gonna feel if you're like there with the drill, like
too much?
Oh shit! Yeah. But it also costs $3.5 billion, and nobody's gonna pay for that. Certainly not President Trump. But the best comparison I saw this week was it's as if you're playing The Sims, like SimCity, and then all of a sudden you're just like, fuck it, all disasters. Let's just see what happens. Like, we have a Category 5 hurricane bearing down on Florida, which has 17 nuclear reactors, which are almost all along the coast. Yeah. Because for reasons unclear to me, that's where they decided to build them. And so, all of those are at risk. We're at risk for our own Fukushima.
And you might be saying, wow, it seems weird to put nuclear power plants on the coast where hurricanes hit. And you say, oh, no, it's okay. Because they have to do something to make it a little bit more hurricane proof. Yeah. But not Category 5, 200 mile per hour wind hurricane proof. Yeah.
The best thing that we saw.
They didn't plan for that, which is what I imagine when you're building a nuclear power plant, you should be planning for. What if a 400 mile per hour hurricane rolls through?
Yeah, but when they were building them in the 70s, like there was no concept that it would ever be the system. Yeah. The grading system did not go up this high because they're just like, no, a hurricane can't have winds that fast. This is as fast as they will ever go. Yeah. And I mean, the best thing, yesterday we were watching CNN and they were showing tests on buildings and they wind it up to like 150 miles an hour and like the unprotected building blows away and the other one's still standing. And he's like, how would this building do with a 200 mile an hour? And he's like, Anderson, we don't test it that fast. Like, we just assumed that would never happen.
Right.
And here we are. So that's, so here's, if you are listening to this and you live in Florida, I know we do have some fans in Florida. Drew joined us.
Please, for the love of God, get the fuck out.
Well, no, so Drew is in Jacksonville, and it looks like he is battening down the hatches, and he's going to stay. But if you're in South Florida, please get out. If you are listening to this and you're still there, well, probably don't get out because you should just stay, shelter in place, as they say. But we have people who listen in Pinellas County and St. Pete, and if you're watching this live now, please get out. Don't try to stay. Like, we saw a funny GIF of a guy in Key West who's like out at the point taking a video, and then the storm is still 150 miles away, and it pushed a wave that came up over his head and just blew him off the dock.
Like a 15-foot wave.
It's ridiculous. Like, you need to get out. It's about getting out at this point. Get out and be safe. Except for a lot of the people ran to Atlanta, and now it looks like the storm is going to just make a direct hit on Atlanta as a tropical storm. So,
at least a tropical storm, though. I mean, that's better off than Category 5 hurricane.
Do you know the thing about Atlanta?
No.
Their water system, their water dispersal system, exactly like Houston.
Oh,
large
good.
And flat, and they use roads to get rid of the water. So I'm sure that'll shake out well. But everybody be safe in the Southeast. California's burning. The Southeast is drowning.
One other quick public service announcement. Because I actually saw this and it makes my brain hurt.
Yeah.
Do not fucking shoot at the hurricane. It is not going to do anything. And those bullets just come back.
They go down at some point. They are going to fall to earth at some point.
It's not good to just have bullets streaming around.
Now wait, I will say that unless you are aiming at Rush Limbaugh's plane as it takes off from a South Florida airport, private airport, of course, because some of Joel Osteen became a target of ours and many people during Hurricane Harvey because he didn't open his church's doors.
Sure did.
But Rush Limbaugh, I can't. So I don't. I mean, my parents listen to Rush Limbaugh and the EIB, the Excellence in Broadcasting Network.
Yeah.
And he spent 3 hours yesterday railing against the Democratic hoax.
By the way, I know that these things are supposed to be like pleasant, but nothing sends like a shiver down my spine quite like the when Rush Limbaugh goes to break and he's just like, he's like, we'll be right back on the EIB Broadcasting Network. Boom, boom. It's like, oh, like hits you. It's like a spinal tap. It just gets you in the.
Yeah. So he spent 3 hours on Friday railing about how Hurricane Irma was a Democratic hoax and they're making up the whole thing, and everyone is they want to drive up prices for the common man, and they want to evacuate people because somehow that's how you make money for the rich overlords, and they just want more control, and that's what this is all about. Mm-hmm. And then promptly went off the air and fled to his private jet to leave South Florida because he broadcast from South Florida. So, of course, he didn't want to be there, just like most people don't want to be there. But he has the ability to get on his private jet and fly out. So I think we should make Rush Limbaugh the target of Hurricane Irma. If anyone in the vicinity of Joel Osteen's church drowned, I think that he should be held accountable for that. And if anyone drowns and they find their radio tuned to the EIB network, I think that Rush Limbaugh should be held accountable for that death because it's ridiculous. And no offense, but most people who listen to EIB are less intelligent. Or maybe they listen to EIB because they're less intelligent. I don't know. It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg thing, I think. But first of all, stop listening to Rush Limbaugh. He's an idiot, all right? He's just going for ratings. It's like, I love that my dad makes fun of InfoWars. Alex
Jones.
Alex Jones and InfoWars. He makes fun of it. But they listen to Rush Limbaugh. He'll listen to Rush Limbaugh every day. And I'm like, you realize these are the same guy, basically. In fact, they may be the same person. Have you seen them in the room at the same time?
Another one, just as a thing. I know that me and you have had disagreements about John McCain before.
Yeah.
But one of the great moments of John McCain was at a campaign rally, sort of doing a town hall type thing where people were asking him questions.
I thought you were going to go with.
No.
That was the best moment in
Stone Cold. When he was running for president with Sarah Palin as the running mate against Obama, he had some sort of town hall, and 3 or 4 people came up with the microphone and said, like, I don't trust Obama because he's a dirty Muslim, and McCain just continuously, against his better efforts, would just go like, I know you're upset. I know you don't like him. I disagree with him politically, but he's not a Muslim, and
he is a citizen.
Even if he was a Muslim, this is that has nothing to do with whether or not.
Yeah.
We all need to live together in peace. All religions. That's what this nation is about.
Yeah.
So please stop saying that sort of thing. And then somebody else would go like, I think that he's part of this black agenda that's going to kill us all. It's just like, guys, he's a good guy. I mean, like, I disagree with him, but at the end of the day, he's just trying to do the best he can. He's not out to like create some sort of secret dark plot to ruin your lives.
Race war.
Yeah. Whereas Rush, if somebody calls up and says something ridiculous, let's just say it's the most like, I'm pretty sure Obama killed Kennedy. Then Limbaugh can't hear that and go like, sir, you're way off base.
Yeah.
There's not even any way that was possible. Please go check a history book. You'd just be like, oh, that's a hot take. All right, next call.
Yeah. It's like, because he knows it's entertainment. It's just like Alex Schiff. It's entertainment. It's not meant to be real news. It's talk radio. It's supposed to entertain the rubes and boobs that call into his show. Stop listening to Rush Limbaugh, especially when it's your life in danger. And to get back to the point, please leave South Florida. I don't know what's going to happen with the storm. We did a bit of a hot take on Harvey when we weren't sure what was going to happen, and it was worse than we could have imagined. And it looks like Irma is going to be worse than that. And by the time we record another episode, Jose will be tracking somewhere into the Gulf region.
And guess what? If we were in Houston doing the show, and Harvey was coming down, and they told us to get out, I wouldn't go, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. I just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
What good comes from like questioning this? I mean, like, at least in the case of a hurricane, which is hitting, Florida and Texas and stuff like that,
right?
You see it coming from quite a ways away.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly what path it's going to be on, but oh, this looks like it could hit Florida. I happen to live in Florida.
Maybe I should get prepared.
Maybe I should prepare to either bunker down or get out. And if they tell me to get out, just get out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Like, everything will be fine. Just come back a few days later. Burn down all the companies that say that will fire you if you leave. Because they're evacuated.
I think my communism's rubbing off on you. Burn down. Yes, absolutely. Burn down every business that says if you don't come into work, we're going to fire you. Burn them down. You have my permission. No, but my favorite.
The views of robbers.
My favorite thing from it was like the people who say that.
I mean, like what we have is wildfires and hurricanes, or wildfires and earthquakes.
Yeah.
Wildfires, technically, we could see coming from a little ways away, but also if the Elysian Hills just light on fire, then there's not much we can do about that.
And to be fair, we're surrounded by enough concrete that I don't know that fire will ever impact. Again, unless an arsonist tries to finish his work, we're never going to be impacted by.
But an earthquake can happen at any point.
Yeah,
and we don't have the ability to say like hurricanes coming or earthquakes coming in a week. We all got to evacuate.
We should probably get an earthquake kit though.
Yeah, probably.
Think about it because we don't have anything. We're very ill prepared for an earthquake.
We should probably get some water.
Yeah, just store some water and So we should probably be more prepared for the earthquake thing, but we wouldn't have the ability to see it coming.
I'm waiting for the day where we like have a stockpile, like we have multiple gallons of water inside the fridge, and it's like we're prepared for the earthquake, and then the earthquake hits, and the fridge just goes out on the 110. I'm just like, what the fuck?
All right, well now
I just spent $100 on bottled water.
Then we have to rob our neighbors. No, but the people who bunker down, the thing I don't understand is like the head of the mayor of your town or whatever saying we're expecting a 15-foot sea surge, and you're looking at your 1-story house that is 1 foot above sea level.
Yeah.
So that means 15-foot sea surge takes your roof off and your whole house is gone, and you're like, we're going to bunker down. I think we can survive this. No, you simply cannot. It will be a 15-foot wave that comes inland. What are you thinking about?
It's a common saying in Florida, specifically, or well known in Florida. It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Yeah.
It's not the 200-mile-per-hour winds. It's the fucking 20 feet worth of flooding that's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah, and it's coming at like high tide at the worst time of the. Like the mayor was on the TV like trying to express it. He's like, we are gonna, if it comes at high tide, we have seasonably high tides already, and then with the storm surge, we're looking at 20 to 25 feet of water coming in, and people picture tsunamis as being this wall of water. It won't be that. It will be a consistently rising wave, but the pressure is the problem. push a house off the foundation. And
Yeah.
then like guy in the background like, I'm staying. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We don't have to worry about it. Like you see pictures of people on roofs after Katrina and Harvey, and you're like, that's why, because they stayed, and then the water just rose up, and they had nowhere to go.
And at a certain point, if the flooding continues, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, don't think you can just go to the roof and avoid this problem. Like, because your roof might be submerged at some point too.
Oh yeah. Now, if you're in a one-story house and you get 20 feet of water, eventually it's just like a boat sinking. You're just like up on the top of the roof, and the water like ankles, knees.
Yeah.
And you're just floating eventually. Speaking of just floating, I do want to get to one more topic before we finish this week. Equifax had a bit of a problem this week.
Yeah, they did.
God, I have so much to say about this. I don't want to drone on forever about it. But so for this,
what's our clock looking like?
we're over an hour already. So, or we're pushing an hour. It's like 55 minutes.
Well, let's have a little fun with
we're
it.
at an hour. So, what are your thoughts about Equifax?
Just generally, or this specifically?
This particular thing. I bring in some generalities, I suppose, but this particular thing.
This particular thing. Number one, a number of people who have your information, who have personal information about you, and are not caring at all about internet security is alarming.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that could keep you up at night if you chose to let it.
Yeah.
But everyone hears, 300 million or 143 million people have their identity stolen, with the potential that a lot more are coming. Yeah. And you just sort of say like, oh well, okay, it doesn't matter. Like who's gonna do anything with my? It's the same argument that I heard from people where it's just like, well, what if I care if the police kill other people? They're not gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Just like, no, slippery slope.
Until they drag you out of a Utah hospital, then it becomes your problem.
Right. The fact that Equifax made no effort to try and secure the most important information that we all own, is alarming.
And the thing that pissed me off the most, though, is I didn't sign up for Equifax.
Right.
I have no interest in the services that they provide. Like, listen, I know I give up information to Facebook. I know that when I go get a car, I have to fill out a credit report.
Yeah.
There are certain things I do. My bank information's out there. If Bank of America gets compromised, like, modern convenience, I need to have a bank account. So it's part of the risk I take.
But like Bank of America, just as an example, because I had looked into this, goes well above and beyond.
I can't even get into my own account.
What the hacking standards are. Like, as far as protection from hacking, Bank of America is way ahead of everybody else. It's not to say they can't get hacked, because if anybody is determined enough, they can do it.
Yeah.
But if you put enough safeguards in place and enough things that separate information and try and make it so that you can't get a whole roll of people, then you're protecting yourself a lot, because nobody wants to go through the effort of hacking this impossibly hard to hack thing 59 times, because certain parts of information are in certain databases and they're all separated. Equifax has pretty much everybody on one list.
One database, all their
names,
stuff.
addresses, social security numbers, birth dates.
Yeah.
And of course, the part that just makes me hope that they come up with some sort of new crime that they can charge these people with. 3 people in Equifax found out prior to the news breaking that there had been a breach and that hundreds of millions of people were affected, and they sold off all their Equifax stock. $1.7 million worth of Equifax stock.
They work at the company.
They work at the company.
Yeah.
It's insider trading for sure.
Yeah.
But I really want like I want the magistrate to just like be reading out the charges. It's just like, you are being charged with insider trading. You are being charged with securities fraud. You're being charged with, what the fuck were you thinking? 4 counts of what the fuck were you thinking?
It's a new charge. I've just come up with it.
It carries the death penalty.
And here's the thing. Iceland, when they dealt with their economic crisis, they put a lot of bankers in jail for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And that shit stopped happening because the ones who didn't go to jail were like, no, fuck no, I'm not doing that. Are you insane? No, put the announcement out. No, I'm not. We're going to lose a shit ton of money. Who cares? I don't want to go to jail. But we don't do that. So this shit keeps happening.
You ready for the most brazen part about this?
Go ahead.
Because this is going to turn into a class action lawsuit like yesterday.
Of course.
But Equifax wanting to let you know whether or not wanting to let you know whether or not you've been affected will let you look up to see if your information has been stolen.
Right.
Keep in mind, it's right now it's like 143 million records out of 300 million people who live in this country.
Yep.
So roughly half of us have been affected by this.
And keep in mind, there are children who don't have any sort of credit at all, so they can't count.
They don't even have a Blockbuster card.
Take out the 80 million kids, so it's really like 70% of the adults in the United States information gone.
Right. You can find out whether or not your information has been compromised by going onto Equifax's website and filling in your information and agreeing not to sue them for finding out whether or not you're
if you don't read the fine print, you don't know it. If you just click the go button, you agree not to sue them.
See, everybody gets on my fucking case about Venmo, and then shit like this happens, and you give away your rights to sue Equifax, and you feel like a real dum-dum.
By the way, millions of people have gone to the website.
Oh,
now.
I know.
Infuriating that they would try to do that. And in fact, I guarantee you that
I'm pretty sure that at some point a judge is going to overturn that, though.
The judge is going to look at it, and the lawyer's going to be like, we need to strike these 200,000 defendants because they went to the website, and he's just going to be like... Unfortunately, under the what the fuck were you thinking charge, I'm not going to allow that. So, no, we're good. Yeah. But here's the most infuriating thing. And for people who don't understand what Equifax is, there are 3 credit unions. TransUnion, Equifax, and the other one starts with an E too. Equifax. I can't remember the third one.
Yeah, I can't remember the third.
And what these companies do
Eric's.
Don't think that's
Eric's old-fashioned credit union.
Yeah, that's definitely it. What these groups do is they basically keep track of everything that you do, and they assign a number to you. And then when you try to do things or buy things, that number is the determinative value about whether you can do them. So I have a lot of student loan debt, and by law, that's not supposed to impact my ability to take another loan out because it's long-term debt like a mortgage. But Equifax, fuck you guys, does make it a percentage impact on my rating. Yeah. Because the law doesn't really apply to them. They are a third-party business that's just offering their score, which a company can use or not use. They're offering just a recommendation service. Right. So when I go to get a car, that car company can't say, oh, well, you have a bunch of student loans, so we can't give you this loan. But they can say, your Equifax score is low, which takes into account the student loans and not give me a loan.
Also, think about this. Let's say I wanted to buy a house. Let's say I had a down payment already, and I wanted to buy a house. But I have to, before I can buy the house, I have to go through many steps. I have to get my financial house in order to make sure that I can start paying for the monthly mortgage payments. Sure. I have to get inspections, and I have to go, if I have to do permits or anything like that. There's a lot of things I have to do. But you can make yourself a list. You can say, I'm buying this house, and it requires this kind of commitment of my time. Right. And it's going to require this much financially, and blah, 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 blah. And you can create just a checklist of things you got to do. Right. If you wanted to go into the bank and try and get a mortgage loan, and they said your credit score is terrible. Yeah. Nobody can give you a checklist of what you could. I mean, people can generally say like, "Oh, you're carrying too much credit card debt. Yeah. You have you're overextended as far as what we've imagined that you're able to afford. Yeah. You have a derogatory credit. Yeah. Yeah. Something like that." But they can't say like, all right, so here's the thing. Come back in 6 months. In the meantime, pay off that credit card debt. Do it like a little bit at a time. Leave a little bit of there's no golden rule for how you fix your credit. Yeah, but I mean, and by the way, you can't pay off all your credit cards because that has a negative impact for some fucking reason. Right. Like carrying 0 credit card debt is not good. You need to carry just enough. Not too much, but just enough. Right. And if you buy a car, you really need to make sure that the amount that you're financing plus what you have in credit card debt lines into this golden rule, or else it can negatively impact other things. Yeah. Like you can make your credit card the annual percentage rate go up because you buy a car.
because it changes your credit worthiness. Like, it's insane.
I had to protect the innocent. I'm just going to make a broad story here.
Sure.
But I have an absurdly rich friend, who has a multi-million-dollar trust in which he can pull from as he sees fit.
Must be nice.
But that trust doesn't technically go up against his credit.
Right.
When he went to go buy a car, which costs $20,000. Yeah. Again, multi-millions of dollars in an account with his name on that he could just pull from.
Yeah.
He wanted to buy the car and like make the payments though because he wanted to build credit.
Right.
And he went and they said his credit was terrible, and then he showed the car dealer the statement that said, "I have multiple millions of dollars. I think you're okay. Don't worry about it.
I think I could get your Hyundai Sonata right now."
I think if I needed to, I could just pull that cash out and pay for your Sonata.
Yeah.
But no, his credit was not worthy enough for him to purchase that car.
You know what they told him?
What?
Pull out the money and just pay for it.
Yeah.
But it defeats the purpose though, because I want to build my credit. Well, you know.
I mean, at the end of the day, what the people that you're borrowing money from or that you're crediting towards is, are you going to be able to pay this back?
Yes.
That should be what the equivalent of the credit score is.
A lot of companies in my life have made a bad decision on that regard.
It's like, well, I think Rob will be able to pay back all this student loan debt.
And then he walks away from his job. Sorry. Yikes! That credit card. That credit card that was half of my yearly wage.
I'm gonna turn you into the internet police. Anywho,
sorry, Capital One. I'll pay it off eventually.
Yeah.
Whatever. But no, here I want. This is the takeaway I want all of you to have. There are three. I don't joke. I talk about oligarchy a lot. That there is a limited cabal of people who are essentially running everything.
Yeah.
Your life is determined by these three companies. They determine whether or not you can find a place to live, where you can find transportation, whether you can buy clothing, like anything, literally anything is controlled by these three companies. And you are opted in whether you like it or not. There's nothing you can do, and you can't opt out. It's not like you can.
And
call
you can't
Equifax.
argue either.
Oh yeah, no, there's no arguing.
Like, let's make an example here. Okay. Let's say that we leave here, we decide to move somewhere else.
Sure.
And Department of Water and Power sends us a bill.
Yep.
We pay it, and then they say, you never paid your bill.
Yes, yeah, we did.
We did pay. Yeah. It's like, well, we don't have any record of it, so you're going to have to pay us again.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I can't find my record of paying for this, but I can guarantee you I paid for this. Like, yeah. No. It's like, well, I'm not paying you again because that's fucked up.
No, let's make a better example. Same thing, except for we say, well, listen, we just moved. We don't have it. Can we pay you in 3 months? We'll be able to pay you again in 3 months. We just don't have it right now. And they say, no, we want it right now.
Yeah.
So 3 months later, we send them the payment. So it's been paid off for a second time, and now we finally get the receipt that says it's paid off, and we're good. But in those 3 months, they've put a derogatory note on all of our credit.
Yeah.
And we call Equifax and we say, hey, not only did I pay this off,
I paid it off twice.
I've now paid it twice, and I'd really like you to remove that derogatory note. And they say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be on your record for 7 to 10 years. Right. Good luck buying a house.
Yeah. And like, so it gets to the point where, again, this cabal of people, sometimes you're stuck in a situation with a crazy woman and you have to get out of your house. And sometimes you're the only person on the lease when that happens. And sometimes she leaves the house an absolute wreck and the company sues you and you end up going to court and you have to settle for a certain amount and then finally you pay it off. But they put a derogatory mark on your record. And now then you go and check it and you're like, oh yeah, but you don't understand. Like, here's the court records. Like, the lawyer from the building agreed that it wasn't my fault, that it was not a guest, but a third person residing there. That's why they agreed to knock down the amount that I had to pay. It was like listen, we need something, but whatever.
But there's no arguing that.
No,
and there
was a judgment. That's it.
There's no, if it's a derogatory debt for $5 or $500,000, it doesn't matter. It hurts you just the same.
And we have no idea what the impact is. I can't tell you the difference when falls off.
You can't go on Equifax and look up how does my credit get determined.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm positive that their algorithm is like 18 pages long of math, you can't even get it to start punching in your own numbers. Because what if it was wrong? That's the other thing too. People have had perfect credit. Like, I always pay.
My parents.
Yeah.
My parents.
I've never been late on anything. I've paid everything off and the time it required and blah blah blah. I've never carried a high balance, et cetera, et cetera. And you could just have a 700 credit score. And
no
just
idea.
Be like, how the hell did that happen? It's just like, well, there's many factors that determine. Well, name one, because I've been pretty great. Like,
and I hate to claim this, and I hate that I'm bringing him up, but Adam Carolla makes this point all the time, that it makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah.
You don't look at what I'm doing right now. You're looking at some mysterious combination of numbers that gives you a number. What I'm saying is, I've never missed a payment. I have the cash to give it to you right now, but I really just want to pay it over some amount of time. It makes no sense at all. And so what I'm proposing is this. Have you ever seen the last scene of Fight Club with the buildings and the that's what we need to do. We just need to all agree. Well, and especially this, because by the way, you can't opt in, or you don't opt in, you can't opt out, and they have all of your information, and they're clearly not protecting it whatsoever.
Right.
They just don't care.
Yeah.
And now it's out there leaked. And by the way, when some Russian hacker who's now taken your personal information forges something and
gets a credit card.
Yeah. Equifax will unapologetically lower your credit score and not raise it back up. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. So you can just be minding your own business, not even knowing about the Equifax report, and then a year from now have lower credit because somebody else used the information that was leaked in this thing to lower your credit.
Yeah.
It is fucking absurd.
Yeah.
But it, much like no Wall Street bankers ever faced any jail time, except for the ones who did.
To other white people, other rich white people, yes. Yeah.
Other than the Madoffs of them.
Right.
This is never going to change. It's not like...
It can change, though. Here's
it
what
can, but I'm saying, like, right now, it's not like Trump's going to go like, this Equifax thing is out of control. Like,
yes. But if we could just agree that we are going to eliminate credit bureaus, we're going to eliminate credit ratings. My parents went and bought a car in 1989, a 1989 Dodge Caravan. And I remember being there. Must have been 5 or 6 years old. Don't remember. But I remember being there, and I remember them, all the stuff they had to bring in. This was before credit numbers were important.
Yeah.
What they wanted to show was, where have you been living? Can you bring proof that you've paid your mortgage or your rent for the last 5 years? All right, now bring your statement from the car that you're trading in and show us that you've made those payments for the last 3 years. And there was like 2 or other, like, bring in 2 credit cards and show that you've made the payments every month for the last year. And that is a credit rating, but it doesn't take into account all of these stupid things that really shouldn't impact your credit.
Yeah.
It doesn't take into account when somebody opens up a credit card in your name and then you fight it and you don't have to pay the charges because Visa fucked up and they end up eating it, but for some reason it lowers your credit score.
Yeah.
Let's go back to a system that makes sense. The things that I need to pay for are somehow justified. It's a lot less easy. I get that. I understand that everybody wants what easy, but it's a better system and it makes more sense. And let's get rid of these credit bureaus because I don't want my information in them, but I can't get it out. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Let me opt out of Equifax and everyone else. And maybe it means that I won't be able to get a credit card or I won't be able to buy a car or something else. But, at some point, I would almost rather do that than have somebody open up a credit card and then get a lawsuit from I was going to say California, but now we live here. But like Montana, where they're like, so you opened up a Walmart card here in Montana and you never paid it. So we're suing you.
Also, another thing, just as a fun fact, for somebody like me who's freelance, the credit score makes all the difference in the world. Because I went to get an oil change, and Honda said they wanted to buy my car.
Right.
So I listened to them on that, and then I found another car that I liked that was newer and would cost me less money, and I was just like, all right, well, let's just kick the can financially and see what happens here.
Yeah.
And because I don't have a job where I'm getting paid every single week, with like direct deposit and a shown guaranteed income every month, they are almost exclusively looking at my credit score.
Yeah.
And that was not good for me.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Sure. What am I supposed to? I would love to do nothing more than to just walk in and just be like, hey, here's the check I cashed a week ago, and here's the check I cashed a week before that, and things get a little bit lean, but guess what? I'm pretty good with this.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, here's the car payment.
But here's the car payment that I've been paying the last 3 years, no problem.
The one I'm about to give you.
Yeah.
The one that I'm trading in. Yeah, here's all the payments I've made on time, all the time. And here's my rent from the last few months. And then here's a statement from my landlord from before that I paid everything on time for 3 years before that. And here's a credit card that I make my payment on every single month and you could trust me to make a payment.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm negotiating with you for a lower payment than the car that I had before.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to afford it even more than
Yeah.
I could this last car. That makes logical. How does that not make sense?
Right.
But no, we depend on some mysterious magical number that we can't control, that we can't change, and that changes seemingly based on nonsensical numbers.
Yeah.
Like I said, in a real world, in the world where we have to show proof of like how much debt you have, coming in with 5 credit cards and being like, look, I have $90,000 of available balance. I paid them all off. Every month I pay everything off from them.
Yeah.
What logical person doesn't say like, that's really great? But no, on a credit score, that's not good.
That's the other thing too. Like, if somebody gives you like, I remember somebody gave me the piece of advice if I wanted to raise my credit score was to only use my credit cards.
Yes.
So buy everything on credit cards and then just pay it completely off at the end of the month.
Right. Because that's the thing you're supposed to do.
Right.
A lot of movement on the balances.
Yeah. But there's also the argument that if you don't carry a small percentage of balance,
right,
then that actually decreases your score. But it's not like I can call up somebody at Equifax and say like, hey, what's the way I should be going? Should I just be putting everything on credit cards and paying it off, or should I just leave a little bit of balance? Like, what do I do to...
Yeah.
Because they'll just be like, oh, I can't answer. I don't know the secret formula.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I can tell you what your score is. Do you want to know what your score is right now?
And you want to know what it was 3 months ago?
Yeah, we can do both of those things. And I can show you all the stuff that you never knew about that's actually on there, if you'd like to see that.
Did you know you own a house?
What?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. But so, yeah, by the way, we keep talking about these eye-opening moments that should happen. Joel Osteen and the whole, what is it called? The
seed funding?
Seed
faith?
Seed faith should be dead after Hurricane Harvey. And Rush Limbaugh and EIB should be dead after Hurricane Irma. And Equifax and the entire TransUnion credit rating bureaus should be dead after this leak. But none of that's actually going to happen.
No.
We could still hope for the best. But instead, we just have to live with the world we have.
Because Mr. Equifax, the CEO of Equifax, is going to pay a lot of money to Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan and Trump and everybody else to make sure that nothing changes with that Equifax.
Yep.
And all of us can just go sit on a log and fucking pout.
Yep. And here's the one good piece of news from this week. That was the first and only time you're going to hear the word Trump on this podcast.
What?
Yay!
Should we add something in real quick at the end?
Yeah.
Whatever. You know who's always keeping their credit 100?
Who's that?
OhTheAnthem.com. Corey at OhTheAnthem.com. The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com where you can sign up for my email list. You can find links to my political blog, foundingthefuture.us, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
Thank you, sir.
I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody. And stay safe, Florida.
All right, on the count of 3, we're both going to say our credit score.
Okay.
And then we're going to do our social security number and mother's maiden name.
Okay.
Ready? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 4.
Wait, what? Your social security number's 4?
No, my credit score is 4.
Oh, 4. Oh,
just
yeah.
4.
Oh, yeah. That's. I'm probably lower than that.
It's good, right?
I think I got like a negative 16. So I mean, you're doing better than me. I didn't even know they could do negative numbers.